Remember when Angry Birds ruled the world, when people actually bought ringtones, and 3D TVs were the future? Reddit asked, what was insanely popular, but completely disappeared? And these answers will hit you right in the nostalgia. Buying ringtones. My phone has been on silent since 2011. What about ringback tones? I regularly have to call a customer who has a ringback tone, it's kind of hilarious. Angry Birds. Even got a movie and shit. Zero cultural relevance or lasting power. They killed the games with microtransactions. They even went back to kill the original, successful game. I downloaded it recently as it works on Android Auto and thought it would be useful to keep the kids occupied in the car occasionally. My word, it's a pile of crap these days. I deleted it immediately. 3D TVs. A mate of mine bought one here in the UK with 4 sets of the glasses so all the family could watch, cost a small fortune. Then he found he had to buy the top-tier Sky TV package just to get the fairly limited 3D content, at around £100 a month. A year later he was back watching the standard package and the glasses were in a box somewhere. MiniDisc.
Yeah, I initially read this as MiniDiscs. Just for your information.
A great recording format that I loved but never really took off. It was very popular in its home market of Japan where you could rent CDs and dub them to MD. Flappy Bird. Phones with Flappy Bird were selling for fuck knows how much after it was removed from the App Store. The craziest thing is that the solo dev of the game was the one who decides to shut it down. Dude was making around $50,000 per day out of the game, and then just announced he was going to remove it from the store because it was getting too many people addicted, although there is also speculation that the actual reason was legal issues. Story I heard was that he was an early victim of doxing. Once people learned what he was famous for, he got subjected to all kinds of harassment from people wanting money or were resentful of his success. Something to do with the cultural norms of the community he was in. Flash mobs and Harlem Shake. I'm of two minds when it comes to flash mobs. On the one hand, I don't mind watching videos of them, but on the other hand, I don't want to be the recipient or be in the vicinity of one happening. But they gave the world a sense of whimsy that I think we are lacking and desperately need right now. Ice Bucket Challenge. Which sucks because it started out raising awareness about and money for ALS, a largely ignored condition. It pretty quickly stopped being about that. But it did raise quite a bit for ALS and is credited with helping fund research that resulted in important discoveries. The Pet Rock. Not to reveal my age, but I was a sucker back in 1975. We were too poor to buy a pet rock, so I had to make do with a rescue I found at the beach. Cracked.com. Okay, it technically still exists, and I have read all the John dies at the end books, and Dan O'Brien writes for John Oliver now, but really I just want to read a funny Sean Baby article 3 times a year. I used to waste all my time on that website before discovering Reddit. Was a much simpler time. Internet cafes. This. As an international traveler in the early millennium, they were essential. Also essential for any self-respecting spy in the aughts. Really, there seemed to be the go get some info at the internet cafe scene in every spy/espionage movie for at least a decade lol. When I was 12 I went on a cruise and needed daily medicine injections, so had to visit the ship doctor nightly. Anyway, one day we got off the ship and my dad took me to an internet cafe and the ship doctor was there looking at pictures of dicks dressed up in costumes, like it was Halloween or something. Anyway, that's my only memory of an internet cafe. Game of Thrones. The ending of the show was so wildly disappointing that we all just act like it never happened. Bran, I can't be king, I'm the three-eyed raven. Tyrion, Bran be king, Bran, Oakdoke. Spend several episodes with Brienne escorting Jaime to King's Landing. By season 8 they had people running from the wall to King's Landing in half an episode. My libido. A mosquito. Pokemon Go. Nah, there's still communities in most towns, it's one of the top 10 highest grossing mobile games of all time. Pokemon Go to the polls.
Hey, don't scroll to the next thread. Please just subscribe, like and hit the bell, or you will miss the next wild Reddit story. I'm already working on it, so see you in the next video.
Rollerblades. Everyone had them, there were movies made about them, games had a street and vert. Then they just disappeared. Glee. Fucking massively popular show, never spoken of. It's weird that Community and The Office each have episodes about Glee and those two have gained new fans and remain popular on streaming, multiple huge meme pages for each, and get a spin-off or a movie that might happen. But when have you heard anyone talk about Glee? Sadly, there was much tragedy that kills any feel-good rewatch. It also had the Ryan Murphy touch of quickly becoming a dumpster fire. Other shows of his, while not as popular as Glee, also don't seem to have had any long-standing success. Popular, Nip/Tuck, shows I remember don't seem to ever get mentioned. I'm sure Nip/Tuck was relatively well known, even if for being controversial, and disappeared from any relevance. Glee also faced accusations of stealing from other artists. More specifically, stealing their covers and arrangements. One of the most famous being Jonathan Coulton's arrangement of Baby Got Back. Fidget spinners. Still used by neurodivergent individuals. CD, DVD burners. I burned a DVD the other day. But they were around and hot for decades. Even though I switched to a new laptop long ago, I held on to my ancient desktop computer because it still has a working CD, DVD burner. Every now and then it comes in handy, since I still have a spindle of blank CDs to get through. BuzzFeed. I follow one of their Facebook pages and it has 10 million followers. The other day I noticed that it now burps out links to barely relevant articles about 6 times a day, rarely ever getting more than 5 engagements. Many get nothing. Culturally, it's a total non-event now, but it was once unavoidable. Similar with Vice, I guess. Slinkies. Norm Macdonald on a talk show, I think Conan. I met my wife at a costume party, she was dressed as a Slinky. To this day I can still remember her coming down the stairs. My son found a Slinky in a box of my old toys. He brings it out now and then to play with. Shit's like 25 years old. How it hasn't been tangled into oblivion I'll never know. I still see a Slinky from time to time though, it's not disappeared like it never existed. Avatar, the movie about blue indigenous aliens, not The Last Airbender. It made billions of dollars and then disappeared like it never existed. It made 3D movies popular, which is another answer to OP's question, and is probably the biggest reason Avengers Infinity War and Endgame were available in 3D, among other big movies. The legacy now is more in filming techniques and special effects, I think.